What's up, boys? Welcome back to another video, and I'm in a trade right now, and I decided to make another video just going into the next lesson of the 10 episodes to profitability series. And this series is going to be on finding that daily bias and applying your model to it. Just because I'm in a trade, it's like a direct representation of how I personally would use like a higher time frame narrative to then go in on a trade on the lower time frame. Now, this trade hasn't hit my profit target just yet, and it's kind of just like bouncing around. But I wanted to go into what actually gave me a conviction to place this trade. And right now you can see that I'm on the 30-minute time frame. However, this trade revolves more around what I saw on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, this is a futures chart, and you guys know if you traded futures and forex that there's a slight difference in the chart and the price action of the futures versus the forex market. So if I go to the forex one, so pay attention to this daily candle, the one that we're currently in right now. And if I go to the forex chart, you can see that there's actually a slightly bigger gap from where this wick ended up, right? It's a little bit further from the fair value gap. And oftentimes what happens is that the futures chart actually runs into it before going higher. But in this case, what I did is I hovered over the wick and looked right here, the low. And you can see, if you pay attention right here, the low of this candle is 2903.4 and the low of this candle is 2903.3. So this one was literally like one pipette higher than the low of this one, and therefore it did not actually run into the daily IFEG. And I figured, because while we don't have to, we already technically did after we closed above here, my bias was that because we already came so close to it and we missed it, that it can still potentially run back down. And therefore what I was looking for, because we came all the way back here, was a sell from the premium. This is obviously a premium price. I'm risking about $200 on my stop loss, and I'm aiming for $1,000. But if we scale even higher, you can see that we finally ran into the weekly time frame fair value gap. So this is the first weekly fair value gap that we ran into for a few weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And if we could continue going back, because there was no weekly fair value gaps that we ran into here, and this was the first one right here. Right, so same thing right here on the weekly time frame. We closed above here and tapped back into this weekly IFEG. And if I go to the forex chart, you can see that this same IFEG was never tapped into, and this threw me off a few weeks ago because I was looking for this tap back into on the forex chart, and I just couldn't trust the futures one enough. But if I had trusted that futures one, then this was a clear IFEG. It tapped into it on the futures one, and I would have caught a beautiful trade towards buy side. But in this case, what I'm looking for is, because we already tapped into a weekly fair value gap, while we did get a bunch of buy side, this means also that we are starting to run on sell side. We're starting to return back into the inefficiencies, because here we have not returned into them. We just continued going higher. But this sign right here is that we are finally getting some sell side, and we're returning into the inefficiencies. So what I'm expecting is that we can potentially get more sell side here. So if we go back to the future chart, same thing. Now you just scale down. You realize, okay, we barely missed this. I think this could be a draw on liquidity that we actually hit before going a little bit higher. So you scale even lower. You realize, oh, what's this to the left-hand side right here? We have a 4-hour fair value gap. Right, but market's not really respecting this one. We also have this one right here that is actually being respected by every single candle. So you can see right here, we have yet to disrespect this one. And so you have a multitude of confluences, and you basically scale down until you find a lower time frame fair value gap. And in this case, I found one on the 30-minute time frame. We tapped into that 30-minute FEG, and I got into my sell, simply aiming for my profit target. I don't need it to run all the way down here, but I'm using this daily IFEG that we missed as my draw on liquidity. So that's the thing that a lot of you don't understand, is that you don't need your draw on liquidity to take profit. You just need to know where the market's going, the trend of the market. And in this case, that weekly FEG that we tapped into is a sign that we are potentially getting higher time frame sell side. And therefore we can be looking for sell side on the lower time frame in our scalps. This doesn't mean that it's going to run all the way down when it goes here, right? It can run a little lower and decide to go back up, continue higher before going lower. right? Your objective is to get out of your trade when your profit target is hit. And that's all there is to it. So it's just a matter of patience right here and waiting for this setup to hit. I can probably even go break even on this trade, but there's still the chance that we tap into this 30-minute fair value gap again before we go lower. So that's all that I was looking for in this trade, and I hope you guys have a better idea of how I narrate my trades around. I think I'm going to be doing a lot more videos around what goes into the trades that I place, because I feel like it helps better than me just explaining the generic here's my trade, here's what happened. Like, if you guys like just saying whether it won or not, but instead actually diving deep into what made me want to place this trade in the current scenario. That way you guys will literally have the same chart. You might have been placing different trades, but you guys have the perspective that I went into my trade with. And that's really valuable because you will know what I look for, how I use the information that I know to help me get in and out of trades. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope you guys can take away from this and use it to fuel your profitability. Learn how to control your narrative, find that daily bias, that weekly bias, right? There was a weekly fair value gap before I scaled down, before I found that we missed the daily target, and therefore we not only missed it on the Forex chart, but also on the futures chart. So it's like a drawn liquidity that's still there, that's still available to be targeted. And that's all for this video. Catch you guys next time.